Episode 5 of the Aquatica Files brings us into the moment where survival mutates into conflict. Mutation is quiet, subtle, barely noticeable as people drift from order into improvisation. But escalation is loud. It's the instant the environment stops asking and starts taking, and Aquatica hit that moment like a switch being flipped. 1 minute, guests were adapting, moving through the park, doing what they needed to do. The next minute, they were defending chairs, tubes, shade, their place in line, their tiny slice of control inside a place that had fallen out of control. Because people don't escalate out of anger. They escalate out of fear. Fear disguises frustration. Fear disguises entitlement. Fear disguises, I was here first. And once fear takes root, every small conflict grows a fuse. Every interaction becomes a potential ignition point. Without strong authority, the crowd becomes its own enforcer. Territory becomes the first battleground. A chair, a tube, a life vest, suddenly defended like assets in a war zone. Escalation isn't chaos, it's structure. A new structure built from pressure, fear, and opportunity. And once it takes hold, it becomes the dominant force in the environment. This is episode 5, Escalation. When the park stops functioning as a park and starts functioning as a pressure chamber. Welcome to the Mind War Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mind War Podcast. We are now starting episode 5 in our Aquatica Files series. We hope that you've enjoyed the first 4 episodes. Today's episode is about escalation, when survival turns into conflict. I'm Badger.
I'm Grandmaster.
And we got a good one today.
All right, so let's talk about the mutation about this conflict and the escalation. Because mutation is quiet.
Yeah.
It's subtle. It's the slow drift from order to improvisation. The escalation is loud. It's the moment the environment stops asking and starts taking.
And Aquatica hit that moment like a switch being flipped. 1 minute, people were adapting, going about their business, doing what they needed to do. The next minute, they were defending. Not their families, their advantages, their chairs, their tubes, their place in line, their tiny slice of control in a place that felt out of control.
That's the thing about unstable environments. People don't escalate because they're angry. They escalate because they're afraid. Fear disguised as frustration. Fear disguised as entitlement. Fear disguises I was here first. All of that ties back into frustration, entitlement.
Yeah.
It's all tied together. And unfortunately, that's all we see.
Very much so.
That's all we're seeing.
And the park became a pressure chamber. Every small conflict had a fuse attached. Every interaction had the potential to ignite. And without strong authority, the crowd became its own enforcer.
I think because territory is its first battleground, it's always like that with humanity. You know, we're territorial people, animals.
Yep.
You give us a scarce resource, shade, chairs, a tube, a life vest, and we're going to defend it like it's in a war zone.
100%.
And that's crazy because everybody does it, to some extent. They defend that like it's some kind of imbecile,
Yeah.
It's a damn water park, man. I mean,
well, when you took the boys out to the wave pool the other day, I watched a man stand guard over 4 empty chairs while his family was off in the lazy river. People came up, asked if they were taken. He didn't just say yes, he challenged them. Chest out, voice raised like he was defending a border. They're taken!
See, we don't do that.
What?
We don't do that. We always say, excuse me, yeah, no, they're taken. Or we'll go, yeah, you can use this one because there's another one over here, I'll get it. There's always chairs.
But it's the challenge.
Of course.
This is mine.
And I bet nobody questioned the guy, right? I wasn't there, so nobody questioned him?
Absolutely not.
It's because I'll tell you why. Because he was confident and boisterous and barking, and it's an unstable environment anyway. And and confidence really becomes the law. Because do you want to get kicked out over a chair?
Right.
So I'm not going to argue with you, man. Chill out, bro. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a chair. We've had plenty of people come to us and say, "Is that chair taken?" Yeah, you can have that one because there's another one here. We'll just switch the stuff. We're accommodating and nice because I want that the same to be for me.
Right.
When it's my turn, I'm not going to turn into that animal.
No.
It's not going to happen.
But then you get the retaliation. Someone moves a towel, or they take a chair, or someone accidentally bumps
Stop
someone
for a
else.
second for a minute. Let me jump on you on this. Someone moves a towel.
Yep.
If there's a chair sitting there and I need to sit down because we both had major surgeries and I just sit down, I'm gonna move your towel, dude.
Yeah.
Then when you come back, then I'll get up and leave if that's the case. But a towel's not gonna save the chair.
No.
It's not gonna happen, man. And I'll even take a chair if it's chair sitting there by itself by another towel. I'm gonna sit there. No one's around. I'm gonna sit down.
Yep.
Come ask me to leave, then I'll leave. But I'm not going to argue with you, but I'll get up and leave. But, come on now.
Yeah. Well, then you get someone accidentally bumping someone else.
Yeah.
These aren't accidents. They're probes. Testing boundaries. Seeing what can I get away with.
And everything starts with glances,
Yep.
with posturing, with microaggression, and then really in Aquatica, it's full of them. You see them all the time. You see the guys walking around with people following them, the loudest person in the group, and everybody's laughing, and there's a lot of drinking going on, a lot of alcohol. I must say that again. I'm not against alcohol. I'm all about alcohol. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a bit of that.
But it is a contributing factor that has to be recognized.
I agree.
And the real escalation happened at the tube rides.
Yeah.
Because tubes are the perfect storm. Limited supply, high demand, zero enforcement.
Well, okay, so I saw a teenager on one of these rides, right in front of us. He grabbed a tube from a family who had just set it down. They just set it down, and he grabs it. He didn't steal it, none of that. And then when the family confronted him, he didn't even back down. He doubled down because in his mind, possession was 9/10 of the law.
Yeah.
You put it down, now it's mine.
And the staff,
Didn't do a damn thing.
they didn't
But
intervene.
then
They
but
couldn't.
on the same token, it was claimed by that family. You put it down.
Right.
Once you put it down and you release it, it's no longer yours.
That's right.
Okay? It's not yours any damn way. It belongs to the park. But if you put it down, it's the next person's turn. Why are you going over and over again? It says strictly in the lines, let other people go, then go again. You shouldn't, unless there's nobody in line, then that person usually says, you can keep going.
Right.
But when it gets crowded, they want you to give other people a shot.
And
Ooh,
excuse me. So the staff didn't intervene because they couldn't. They were outnumbered, outpaced, and completely out of authority. When the system can't enforce fairness becomes optional.
Well, and optional fairness is the birthplace of conflict.
Right.
Because you don't say nothing, you just stand there and look like a statue, and you allow the families to argue over something that you should have told the family, you put it down, he has it, grab another or move on.
Yep.
End of it.
But here's where it gets interesting. In a collapsing environment, the crowd itself becomes the weapon. Not intentionally, but functionally. People use the crowd to push, to block, to pressure, to intimidate.
We watched a group of kids, youngsters, form a wall, almost like a blockade to keep people from entering a certain ride or slide, wherever they are. It was it's not official, it's not even allowed, but it was effective. They didn't need to say anything. Their bodies did the talking. People stood back and allowed them to control the situation.
Yeah.
And we were like, a good thing we're not going on that ride.
Well, the people behind them just followed their lead.
Yeah, did nothing. They just stood there, and I'm like,
And it's not because they agreed with building the wall. They didn't want to be the one to challenge the wall.
Well, because you're gonna just go with whatever's happening, and you just kind of like, you don't want to lean towards aggression, so you just kind of go, okay, well, just stand here and wait, because if you go the other way, then something's gonna happen. There's more of them than you, or whatever. They're louder. They're barking at the fence, so to speak. They're blocking the entrance to this ride. As soon as you try to get through it, now you're the bad guy.
Yep.
You're kicked out of Aquatica. And I think that's part of the problem, because the crowds amplify the behavior,
Yeah.
good or bad.
100%.
And let me put this out there real quick too, just as a disclaimer. It isn't like going to Aquatica is a war zone. No, we're just enlightening you on things that are happening at Aquatica, so that you're not shocked when you go there. You're not going, oh my God, this is happening at Aquatica. You can go, well, I saw this on the Mind War, or heard this on the Mind War podcast. This happens at Aquatica, so we need to be aware.
Right.
That's all this is for. Aquatica is a great place. I love it. It's a great place, but there's a lot of things that need to be fixed.
Yes. Well, the saddest part is the staff retreat. Not physically, but psychologically. You could see it in their posture. Shoulders slumped, eyes down, movements hesitant. They weren't enforcing rules anymore. They were surviving the shift. And that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
They don't address the customers. They eyes down. If I don't look at them, they won't ask me a question. They won't have a complaint. I won't have to deal with an issue. So,
well, that's natural order, though, if you think about it.
yes, it is.
So, if authority is like a vacuum, right? It's in a vacuum. If the authority steps back, the unofficial authority steps forward, and that's where the issues kind of lie, is that no one's taking control, and I don't think they know how. That's the problem.
Right. And that's when escalation becomes normalized. It's not a spike. It's not an incident. It becomes the new baseline.
Well, a baseline built on tension instead of trust.
Right.
And I don't even know if trust is the right word. We're using it a lot. But you should trust that you're going to go to this water park and have a good time without incident.
Right.
That's what we were meaning by trust and faith, people, because we said faith a couple of times in the other 1 through 5 podcasts. We were talking about faith, or 4, excuse me, and we're not talking about religious faith. We're talking about the faith in thinking that I'm going to go there and have a good time without incident.
Right.
That's what we're talking about when we're talking about faith. So, and again, I'm going to reiterate, I can't say it enough, SeaWorld and Aquatica are together, right?
Yeah, they're sister companies.
Right. And they're so different in the way the staff is running things there.
Yes.
And that could, if you're listening out there and you work at any of these parks, take that to heart. SeaWorld is ran a heck of a lot better customer service-wise than Aquatica, and I can understand it a little bit. Aquatica can get out of control a little bit because it's water, people swimming, all that. So, but there's got to be a way for you to control it better.
So let me give you a good comparison as to how I feel since I just recently went to SeaWorld and we've been to Aquatica. The easiest way for me to compare it is SeaWorld's the JW Marriott in downtown Orlando. It's got a lazy river, it's got staff that's off the chain. Rooms are to die for. Aquatica is like
The old Wet n Wilds.
Well, it's more like just a regular Marriott. Still a really nice room, but it's not the JW.
No amenities, no continental breakfast, no nothing.
No staff that goes out of their way to make sure you don't need anything.
Yeah.
No cordoned off drink areas.
Yeah.
No separate entrances for handicap access to make sure that when you go to the show, you've got a seat that you can see. No people that are not handicapped sitting in handicapped sections.
We say it all the time at Aquatica.
All
the time.
So, episode 5 is simple. Escalation is not chaos, it's structure. A new structure built by fear, pressure, and opportunity. And once it takes hold, it becomes the dominant force in the environment.
And then once again in episode 6, we're just going to go just a little bit more past escalation and go to the breaking point. The moment when the environment stops bending and finally snaps.
When conflict stops being interpersonal and becomes systemic. When the park stops functioning as a park and starts functioning as a battleground.
Okay, welcome back to the Aquatica Files. The escalation phase is complete. Now comes the fracture. I'm Grandmaster. Remember to always be kind.
And I'm Badger. Next episode, episode 6, is the final episode in this series. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching the first 5. Don't miss the next one. Have a great day.